Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll be learning how to use a rain sensor module with Arduino. So a rain sensor module consists of two parts. One is this, the another one is this. So we will start with this part. Here you can see that there are two pins coming out of here. One pin is connected to this set of wires and this pin is connected with this set of wires. Let me highlight and show you clearly. Now you can see clearly that this set of wires is not intersecting with this set of wires at any point, at any place, until and unless I put a rain droplet over this sensor. So if you send some current from this pin, then it will distribute into all these wires, but can it jump and reach here? Answer is no, because there is no intersection point between these two set of wires. But what will happen if I just put a rain droplet over this sensor? I just put a rain droplet over here. So what will happen in this case? So in this case, the current that is coming out from these wires can jump into this, and this wire. So from here, it can travel to this place here, and it can reach back to this pin and can be withdrawn from here. So basically, that's how a rain sensor works. So you can correlate this rain sensor with continuity mode of the multimeter. So what happens when we set the multimeter at continuity mode? So the multimeter sends small amount of current from the red wire, and if there is continuity between the red and the black wire, then the current will be received back at the black wire and the multimeter will start beeping. So basically this rain sensor also works on the similar lines. So let's discuss how to do the connections. So here, one pin of the sensor will act like a red pin of the multimeter. Another one will act like black lead of the multimeter. That is, one will be sending the current and one will be receiving the current. And you need not know like which one is sending, which one is receiving. You can connect any pin from here to any pin on this side. Like you can connect this one with this pin, or you can connect this pin with this pin, or you can do the reverse as well. You can connect this pin here and you can connect this pin here. Like you can use any connection like this. So basically what we have to do is we have to send the current into one set of wire and we have to receive the current from another set of wires. That's basically what we have to do. Now let's talk about these wires. So what you have to do here is you can see VCC and ground. So I've already told you that whenever you see VCC and ground, it means we have to supply the power between these two terminals. Like this rain sensor will definitely need power supply for its internal operations, and that power supply will be connected between these two wires. Like positive terminal of the battery will be connected to VCC, negative terminal of the battery will be connected to ground. Now we are left with just D0 and A0. So what these pins are? Let's discuss that. So the D0 pin produces some digital voltage based upon whether there is rain falling over the sensor pad or not. If there is no rain, then the current going out from this pin will not being received by this pin. So in this case, the D0 will produce 5 volt. But if the rain is falling over the sensor pad, whether there are less number of droplets or there are more number of droplets, so the T0 will just produce 0 volt for every case. 0 volt means this current is being received over this pin due to some rain droplets lying over here. Now, how does A0 works? So A0 also produces some voltage, but it produces in the analog manner. Like if there is no rain, That is, the current being sent from here is not being received over this pin, then in this case, A0 will produce 5 volt. But if there is some rain falling over the sensor pad, that is, if there are less number of rain droplets, then the current will be received here, but path of the resistance will be quite high. So in this case, the voltage will be closer to 5. Let's say it can be 4 volt. And if there are more number of rain droplets lying over the sensor pad, then the voltage will reduce further. Let's say it is 3 volt in this case. And if the sensor pad is completely submerged in the water, there are many rain droplets over here. Then in this case, obviously the current being sent to this pin will be received back here, but also resistance of this path will be very low. So in this case, if it is completely submerged in the water, then it will produce 0 volt. So that's how it works. So the D0 tells whether there is rain or not, and the A0 tells the amount of rain. It tells the amount of rain over the sensor pad. Now let's see the demo. So let's start with the connection. So I will be connecting these two pins with these two pins in any order like I told. This thing doesn't matter at all. So I'm connecting these two pins with these two pins. So now what I'll be doing, I'll be connecting VCC and ground with the Arduino. So let me withdraw VCC. So this will be connected to 5 volt in the Arduino. So 5 volt, this one. Then now this ground will be connected to the ground of the Arduino. So it's here. Here I've connected it. Now let's power the Arduino. So now let's check the voltages at D0 and A0. So currently the rain sensor is completely dry. Now let me check voltage of D0 first of all. So D0 is producing 5 volt. A0 is also producing 5 volt. Now let's put some water droplets over the sensor. Now let's see if there is any change in the voltages. So the D0 is now producing 0 volt. The A0 is producing approx 2.5. Now let's put some more water droplets. Now the D0 is producing still 0 volt, and A0 is now producing 2 volt, which has been reduced by zero point 0.5 volt. Uh, can we make it further lower? Let me put more water over here. Okay, there's so much water over here now. The D0 is at 0 volt. The A0 is at 1.9 volt. Okay, so that's how the rain sensor works. Now let's start coding and see how the values look over the serial monitor. So we've already discussed in our previous classes that whenever you have to write any Arduino code, so start with the skeleton code like void setup and void loop. Now, Let me finish the connections first of all of D0 and A0. So from the D0, I'm connecting a white wire and a yellow wire to the A0. Then from the D0, I have to read digital voltage. So let me connect it to the pin number 2. Pin number 2 at the digital pin side, and the A0 I'm connecting to, let's say, A1. So 2 and A1, because from the yellow pin, that is A0, like from the yellow pin I will be reading the analog voltage. Okay, so let me declare the second pin as input, and the A1 pin will also be declared as input. Okay, now we have to read and print. So since we have to print, I have to use this line serial dot begin 9600. Then for printing, I have to use digital read 2 and analog read A1. So I want to read the voltage from second pin and from the A1 pin. But since these functions return, so you have to store these two values in some variables. So let me declare two variables in a global scope. So let me use float for that. Float D for the digital pin and float A for the analog pin. Now I can write D is equals to digital read 2 and A is equals to analog read A1. Now I need to print them as well. So let me write serial dot print ln serial dot println. Then I need to print D and A like this. Now this will just print D and A values again and again. So like to separate these two values, I can write this. I will be printing a string of this kind in between these two set of values. Like it will print DA and then this string, then DA, this string, DA, this string. So that's how it will go. Now let's upload this code to Arduino and see how code works. Let me open the serial monitor. Okay. So as this is printing very fast, so I can also give a delay so that I can clearly see it working. So I can give a delay of 1 second, let's say. Okay, now you can see that it is printing with a delay of 1 second. Okay, now let's see the practical demo of that. So currently, since the rain sensor is completely dry, it is showing 1 and 1023, where 1 means high, that is 5 volt, and we know that analog read function returns values ranging from 0 to 1023, where 0 means 0 volt and 1023 means 5 volt. So basically, it is showing 1 and 1023 means 5 volt and 5 volt. Now let me put some water droplets over here I've put some water. So now it is showing 0 and 470 approx. Now if I put more water droplets, now it is showing 0 and 420 approx. Let me put more water. So it is the analog voltage is decreasing more and more. So that's how it works. I hope you have thoroughly understood how a rain sensor works. Okay, so thanks for watching.